Barakta Yahweh, Barakta Shai, Barakta Yahweh, Barakta Shai, Barakta Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makakadash. Dub honors and salutations to the elders and apostles, great Mr. Rule well, and to the IKM preaching the gospel for Mashiach Yahweh Shai in these last days and times, in sincerity and diligence of heart. This Bamnasha DC camp with a short lesson to the hopeful elect. Yeah, so wow. Getting close to the wire. So I just got a quick lesson for the IKM, and it won't take that long. Tops 8 minutes. Who knows? Yeah. So I'm going to read a quick precept from the book of Matthew, chapter 7. Actually, Matthew chapter 24, verse 12. All right. It says, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." And hey, when there is no love, when there is no reverence for the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Lord, what do you think is going to happen to that household? It's going to fall apart. What do you think is going to happen to that neighborhood, to that city, to that town, to that nation? It's going to fall apart, and that's the judgment of the Lord upon Babylon. And here is, Jake, one of the so-called renowned philosophers, of our nation, giving Esau the lowdown about Babylon, why he's pessimistic about the future of America. Yeah, so let me just go ahead and play the clip real quick.
Are you pessimistic about America?
Yes, I'm pessimistic about the future. Sometimes I tell younger people I'm glad I'm as old as I am because I'm not going to see how this is all going to end.
What are you pessimistic about in particular?
I'm pessimistic about the decline of values because that's what's inside people. And if that's not there, the rest of it is not going to matter.
Which values in particular?
Honesty is one that you don't see a lot of. The whole attitude that you're entitled. It's amazing. What does entitlement and a right mean? It means that other people are bound to provide you with what you don't provide for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Why are other people bound to do something for you that you're not going to do for yourself?
Yep, and that's what you have to consider, all right? Because, yeah, the Lord talks about, if a man doesn't work, he can't eat, and let me get that precept. It's very, very important. Every man got to work with his own hands, the right way. So, this is book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10. It says, "For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any man would not work, neither should he eat." All right, because there is no time for freeloading. In Israel, the Lord is not about making freeloaders prosper. All right, the Lord expects people to stand up right and make a decent living. Walk the straight and narrow, and have a clear conscience. But our people just make it seem as if it's impossible. All right. And then this is verse 11 says, "For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, walking not at all, but are busybodies." So hey, that describes Jake to a T, man. Busybodies, man. Always looking for something else besides the truth, besides their own responsibilities to deal with. All right. So that's why we know that definitely, man, the Most High is putting this place into that column to be torn apart, man. Of places that was and will never ever be again. So that's just a quick synopsis on that. Let me play some more of this video.
Hmm?
I mean, why are other people bound to do something for you that you're not going to do for yourself?
You tell a tale of two blackouts that illustrate what's taking place here. The first blackout takes place in November 1965. I can actually remember that. We lived in upstate New York.
I lived in upstate New York.
And there was I can remember when we were having dinner and the lights in the house went dark. Mm-hmm. And then came back up for a moment. We all looked at each other and thought, what just happened here? Well, of course, when we turned on the television, we found out what happened. Huge power outage. And New York City, whereas upstate, the lights just went down and came back on. In New York City, the city went black for the whole night.
Yes.
And you write that night the crime rate was lower than usual, 1965. Second blackout, very similar event, takes place in July 1977. And you write again, New York City was again dark throughout the night, but now there was widespread looting and arson.
Yes.
65 people behaved themselves in New York City in the dark.
Yes.
And in 70, so what happens in those 12 years?
This was one of the many things that turned to the worst in the 1960s. There's a whole slew of them. Steven Pinker has a book about international murder rates. Mm-hmm. And he said the general trend over the centuries is for the murder rate to go down. But in the 1960s, the rate did a U-turn, as he put it. It went right up, and this was common across Western societies.
And it is because of
the same vision out there.
And the vision. So I'm trying to. I guess one thing I'm trying to get at here is the extent to which. How does it work itself out? Are the cops, because of this new social vision between 1965, people know that if they try looting or arson, the cops will come right at them?
No.
There's
only so much the cops can do. The first line of defense is morality and the law as a statement of what the principles are.
Yeah, and that goes back to the words of the Heavenly Father. You know, that's all it takes. You know, love the Lord. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kwakadash, with all your heart, mind, and soul, and to love thy neighbor as thyself. And when that does not exist, hey, what do you expect to happen? All right? So I'm going to read from the book of Luke, chapter 21. I'm going to start from verse 16. It says, "And ye shall be betrayed, both by parents and brethren and kinfolks, and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death." And that's Yahweh Shai giving his apostles, you know, the heads up of what's going to happen to them. And, you know, and this is the time that we are going to be seeing those, you know, early warning signs, okay? And then verse 17 says, "And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake." And that's all it is, man. You know, a lot of people don't want to deal with the truth because they've latched themselves on to the devil. They decided to go along with the works of Esau, right? And then final precept be from the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 5. I'm going to read from verses 9 to 10. "And salt waters shall be found in the sweet, and all friends," it says, "and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber, and shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon earth." Yeah, so it's going to get ugly, because when this next so-called pandemic and all this economic collapse happens, and folks are fighting, you know, against the mark of the beast, fighting against the image of the beast, and World War III going on, then you're going to see people's morality, people's values being put to the test. And that's the reason why, you know, the Lord wants his servants to prepare ahead of time, because the days are surely evil. So that's the point that I came up to, you know, you get edified, and, you know, you keep on building. Shalom.